Now, the viability of coalition governments remains in the spotlight this week as service delivery issues persist. In Tshwane, for example, residents have had to find alternative ways for their daily commute after learning that the bus service had run out of diesel. Residents have also had to deal with a lack of stable water supply in Tshwane. So the headaches continue, the frustrations continue, and finding out for us on the ground is senior reporter Silindelo Masikane, who's back now from Tshwane, joining me in studio. Good afternoon, Silindelo. Well, they say it never rains but pours. Eh? Here you're in Tshwane, you got no water. Yeah. This time Eskom is load shedding you, to stages, whatever they want. Yeah. And there are no buses. Yeah. I mean, what a life.
I mean, I don't know. I think the lives of South Africans at this point, it's really, it's anyone's guess in terms of where service delivery is going to go on any given day. You don't know if you're going to wake up with no water. You don't know if you're going to wake up with no electricity. And now for the residents of Tshwane, it's waking up with a limited bus service. And this comes after a statement yesterday from the city of Tshwane saying that their service provider, at that point, they were saying that their service provider is running out of fuel, and that is affecting the delivery of fuel to their bus depot, their main bus depot in the city of Tshwane, and that this was going to result in the bus services being suspended. In fact, what I was expecting to see when I got to Tshwane this morning was that there were going to be no buses that were operational. But when I arrived, in fact, there was a limited service. I can say there's about 160 buses that operate daily in the city of Tshwane, but today they had about 90, simply because the buses just don't have diesel. We had an opportunity to speak to one of the officials who then said, look, the issue really comes from the fact that they've adopted a new payment system. The service provider wasn't paid on time, which means that fuel could not be delivered. So now they've reverted back to the old system, and they're hoping that they're going to have delivery of diesel that will maintain the bus service for the next couple of days. But then what? After those next couple of days, then what happens? Will we see an absolute suspension of the actual bus service? Let's take a listen.
As I indicated earlier on, that we will redirect some of our buses in the event that truck gets delayed to those depots that have fuel. To our commuters, the city of Tshwane apologizes profusely for the inconvenience that we have caused.
So the commuters, what are they supposed to do now?
Well, according to the city, they just need to make alternative arrangements because they can't guarantee that their route would have a bus working. They're saying that at this point it's just a matter of trying to resolve the issue around the diesel capacity. In fact, before Joe Matlala and I left the bus depot, we had started seeing a little truck or a van delivering diesel and pouring it into the buses, but this is periodically. So we were expecting to see a tanker, but it does seem as though they're just trying to patch where they can, where buses are able to go out and do their shift, they're doing so. But I think for those Tshwane residents who do depend on the bus service, they should be making those alternative arrangements. Let's take a listen once more.
It's the city leadership. I mean, who can you blame? I mean, those that are steering the ship. If the ship sinks, they are the ones who must take accountability. So Randall and the DA-led coalition must take the blame.
Apologies for that. That's not the part that we were referring to. I wanted to know what the commuters are then supposed to do, and you had the view from the city of Tshwane about what the plans that they must make. Yeah,
they're saying that, look, at this point they are really scrambling to try and ensure that there are sufficient diesel amounts. They were saying that, in fact, if they can't get that delivery today to provide diesel to the actual buses at the depot, they do have other stations in and around the city party where they're going to be pulling that diesel supply from.
Okay, the opposition parties, we just saw a little bit glimpse of them there. I mean, just before we play that bite again from the ANC as the opposition in Tshwane, what did they actually say? How do they see this problem?
You know, I posed it to them to say, look, but don't you think you left this DA-led coalition in the city with this issue of service delivery? And they were saying to me that no, in fact, when the ANC was in power, everything was running in Tshwane. In fact, there was more development that was taking place. And ever since the DA-led coalition has taken over, they're saying service delivery in the city of Tshwane has dilapidated. You could see just by, you know, the roads, the potholes, the lack of water. And they're saying that, you know, I think in terms of this year alone, we're going to be seeing a lot of electioneering, Bradan, where we're going to see political parties saying, look, you want service delivery, put us back into power.
Yeah, meanwhile, the residents, the commuters, in this case of Tshwane,
exactly,
are paying the price. Thank you very much, Silindelo Masikane.